We have a brand new report that came out today highlighting that the Maple Leafs are actively trying to acquire Chris Tanev, and Elliotte Friedman speaks out on the situation regarding the Leafs' current trade offer. So I'm going to break that down in this episode of Leafs Digest, as well as a Timothy Liljegren injury update. We have a positive update on that front, so stay tuned. But before we do into that, a quick reminder to hit the subscribe button. About 80% of you guys who are watching right now are not subscribed. Thank you guys for letting us hit 5,000 subscribers. Get that out of the way first. Your support has been unbelievable as I continue to make, and we continue to make daily Leafs content. And again, thank you guys. It's unbelievable your support. And again, let's continue that and make it on the road to 7,500. All right, let's get into the video today. Major Leafs trade update. So a big update dropped regarding one specific player, and that is Chris Tanev. It seems like the Leafs are all in on acquiring Chris Tanev, and there has also been a report from Elliotte Friedman highlighting this. So David Alter, NHL writer, said the Leafs are reportedly still pursuing D-man Chris Tanev, and some clarity on John Klingberg's status would help in that matter. Now, this is a pretty interesting report. So a couple days ago, I made a video highlighting that Chris Tanev would make sense for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He has been one of, if not the best, I think he's top 3 or top 4 advanced analytics on the defensive end of the puck so far this season. He's been up there with the elites. His checking has been unbelievable. His block shots have been off the charts. He's even putting up a few points. And Chris Tanev is a guy that we know and we're all familiar with. He had a relationship with Brad Treliving in the past when Brad Treliving signed Chris Tanev way back when they were, when Treliving last year was a GM. The big thing here now is, will the Calgary Flames want to make a deal with Brad Treliving? Will they want to make a deal with the Maple Leafs? Because they just saw him. We just saw them trade Nikita Zadorov to the Canucks for a couple of picks. A pretty lackluster return in the grand scheme of things, and it had to do with salary retention. Now, Elliotte Friedman speaks out on this a little bit. So the Toronto Maple Leafs are continuing their search to add a defenseman. In the latest segment, he basically goes on to say, from what I understand, the issue here is that the Maple Leafs and Flames could not agree on what it would cost for Calgary to keep up 50% of the salary on both players. I don't know what the exact percentage was that Toronto asked. It was up to 50%, and the two sides still couldn't figure out that compensation in addition to just the compensation for the player. So that was the truth reveal behind the Nikita Zadorov situation. And he also goes on to report that they are interested in Chris Tanev, like we have discussed in this channel already, which is doubled up by David Alter here. So again, Chris Tanev, I'm hoping the Leafs can make a push for him. I didn't realize, I knew he's a very good defensive-minded defenseman, but especially in John Klingberg's absence, obviously Klingberg is much more offensively minded, and then Timothy Liljegren, who's a very solid defender, has been out for a while now, and still going to be out for a little bit. If the Leafs, Brad Treliving needs to make a trade. We saw the great comeback against the Bruins yesterday. Austin Matthews with 5.6 or 5.7 seconds left, tied it up to get us that 1 point, albeit we lost in overtime. The big thing here is that blue line continues to be a problem. We have Joseph Woll doing unbelievable between the pipes, but the blue line is lackluster. So if they can go ahead and acquire a guy like Chris Tanev, who will instantly elevate the floor of this team defensively, then I would be over the moon. And it might even cost more than Nikita Zadorov, because Chris Tanev is having an unbelievable season. He is a pending UFA. He is 30 years old. He doesn't have the upside that Nikita Zadorov does, especially if he gets extended. Nikita Zadorov being, I believe, 28 years old, much younger than Chris Tanev, maybe 27. But Chris Tanev has been very good for the Flames this season. He's been very good defensively in his career. And again, the big caveat here is that the Leafs are also waiting clarity on John Klingberg's status. The defenseman is long-term. He's on the LTIR as he deals with his hip injury. And Keefe was asked about the status, and he basically had nothing to report. So obviously, there's a few reasons why you're wondering about Klingberg's status. So for one, if Klingberg is out and goes, gets surgery and is out for the season, that salary could be used to acquire a guy like Chris Tanev, who is making similar money. Depending on if the Calgary situation with the cap retained, I believe Tanev is making somewhere in the range of $4 million. Klingberg is making in the range of $4 million. So if the Leafs could potentially, if the Calgary Flames don't want to retain any salary and Klingberg does get surgery, it could work out to where the Maple Leafs retain all the salary. However, as seen here, that didn't work for the Nikita Zadorov situation, so there is a pessimistic view to see and look at here regarding if it would work for Chris Tanev. And that's why a deal might be a bit hard to manage, and that's not even discussing what the potential package could be. Are they looking for picks? Are you looking like a prospect like Abruzzese? If you're the Leafs, are you willing to give up a young player like Abruzzese in exchange for Chris Tanev? Because you're also now not going to get a package of Nikita Zadorov and Chris Tanev in one, which would have instantly elevated your defensive core. So there's a ton of questions to have here. And there's also the question of if John Klingberg is potentially going to be able to return to the Toronto Maple Leafs, then the salary is not going to be as easy to match. And then you also have another blue liner who, albeit doesn't do great defensively, he's there for the power play one line. Who knows what that situation would be for Brad Treliving? So I don't know. The Leafs are waiting to see if John Klingberg's hip injury is a situation where there's surgical intervention or not, and that is the big thing. If there is that intervention, it changes everything, because then you can potentially match the salaries more, which is what they failed to do regarding Nikita Zadorov. So it's going to be interesting to see. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on that. I am hoping they're able to acquire Chris Tanev. I'm kind of all in the Chris Tanev train. I get it. He's a rental. I also get that he's older, but I think the price won't be too high, and he would instantly elevate the defensive floor of this team and help not only the rest of the blue liners, but Joseph Woll and Ilya Samsonov as well, who have been off to, well, Joseph Woll especially has been off to a great start over his Leafs tenure, and hopefully it would help Samsonov as well, give him some much needed confidence between the pipes. So let me know what your thoughts are on that, and leave me in the comment section below. What would you be willing to give up for Chris Tanev? Let's move on now to big injury updates, and that was a few of them. We have the Klingberg stuff. There's nothing to report on the Klingberg front. The injury, we don't know if surgery is going to, be needed. We will know if that intervention is going to happen, hopefully over the next week or two, because they need to know sooner than later so Brad Treliving can work around this potential surgery and start to acquire assets. But we also have Timothy Liljegren. As of Sunday, December 3rd, a month and a day after the non-penalized Marchand trip caused a high ankle sprain, he is back on the ice for a solo skate before a rare Sunday Leafs practice gets underway. Now, if you're familiar with the Leafs schedule, they do not play for 5 days, which is honestly a good thing for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. They are battling injuries, specifically regarding, of course, Timothy Liljegren. He's probably the big one. Klingberg as well. It was good to see Connor Timmins get a point yesterday. Very, very solid game out of him after returning from injury. This was, I think, his third or fourth game now, but he's doing very, very good things out there, and he helped that blue line exponentially. But if we can get Timothy Liljegren back, he would be an unbelievable asset to have coming back to this blue line. And then if you can acquire a guy like Chris Tanev to help that, if you're Brad Treliving, you have to make an addition to the blue line. There's no question about it. Whether that's Chris Tanev is a perfect fit for this team. The only question is, do they want a guy, and we've discussed this in the past, with potentially more control? Chris Tanev is a pending UFA. He doesn't have much, a huge ceiling after this year because he's 33 years old. He's not super old or anything. I would say he got another couple years left in him, at least of performing at the level he is now. So who knows if Brad Treliving is going to do and be like, I would rather trade for a guy with more control. Maybe a guy like Noah Hannafin, who is also a pending UFA, but has reportedly potentially been on the trading block. He would be an unbelievable ad, but we're starting to shop in the different range of things. So if Timothy Liljegren can come back soon, maybe over the next month or so, this really helps the blue line core. But at the same time, if you're Brad Treliving, you cannot just rely on him to be the guy to elevate this team above without making any additions. You simply need to make an addition if you're Brad Treliving, and I do think they are going to do that. Just they're waiting at the right time to strike and with the salary cap implications. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are on the trade and the injury update as well. I'm hoping Timothy Liljegren will be able to make a quick recovery and return soon, as well as John Klingberg. I just want to get some clarity on that situation because it is going to matter a lot going forward. Thank you guys for watching. See you tomorrow.